Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Not Your Average Glow. This is a safe place where we come, we talk all things mental health, spirituality, and quite a bit of tarot. I will be having a new tarot video coming up very soon, but I wanted to speak to you guys today about some lived experiences from today and some lessons that can be taught from them. Confession. I don't always charge for my services, like my tarot readings or like my counseling sessions. Sometimes I don't charge anything for them. And why? Imposter syndrome. Today I had a older teen, young adult, call me, and I've known this young woman for quite some time. She was like, Sam, I want a tarot reading. I'm going through this really dark time, blah, 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 struggling with depression, yada, yada, gone through a breakup, yada, yada. And I had some stuff going on and this, that, and the other, so we had to postpone the tarot reading for a little bit. And then today she was like, can I just call you? And I was like, yeah, sure. And she's like, well, do you want to jump on a FaceTime? Do you want to, do this way? I'm like, well, first tell me just what's going on, right? And she starts speaking. And as she's speaking, I start getting teary-eyed. And I'm just like, fuck, I don't have the answers here. And your ego comes into play when you're in some sort of like leadership role, like when you're an influencer, or you're a counselor, or you're a therapist, or you're a teacher, you're a pastor, or you're an influencer. There is this expectation because you have a following or because the type of work you do is inherently like helpful. It's leadership. People kind of have this expectation that you'll have the answers, right? And sometimes you don't. Like sometimes you're like, fuck, I don't know. And sometimes that is the best answer you can give is, I don't know, but I'm here for you. I'll hold space for you. I'll listen to you. You want to get some coffee? You want a hug? And you can talk to them about how you've gone through a similar thing and you're still trying to figure that out. But it sucks because sometimes it's like, I must feel like they're calling me for answers and I don't have answers. But it's like, I fell into this career by mistake. I didn't plan on doing this. This isn't what I went to school for. I never thought when I bought my first tarot deck that I was going to be a tarot reader. I thought it was just a fun hobby, and buying a tarot deck and being like a psychic doesn't magically mean that I have all the answers to the world. I got it all figured out as far as career goes and love goes and family goes. And I'm a good mom. And I'm a good wife. And I'm a good, whatever. I'm not married, but all of those things. But I don't have it figured out. I'm just winging it. It's like when you're little and you see your parents and you think to yourself, I can't wait until I'm 30 years old and I'll have life all figured out. And then you get to 30 and you're like, fuck, I still feel like a scared teenager all the time. Like, nobody prepared me for being a parent, and like, it's wild that like I'm responsible for everybody else in the house all the time. Like, sometimes I'll find myself at 31 years old. I've been a parent for fucking 9 years now, right? Sometimes I'll find myself like looking around like, fuck, we need an adult, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm the adult. Like, who left me in charge? Like, my brain's a dumpster fire sometimes, and then like I'm the one having to keep it together. And because I'm an earth sign, I come off so put together, but I'm not. I can promise you I am not. I'm a Capricorn moon. I'm just emotionally like closed off, like I'm guarded with my emotions. I have them. I have all the feelings, sometimes too many feelings. I'm very empathetic. I have my feelings and I feel your feelings. but I don't necessarily like to speak on my feelings when I feel like it's inappropriate. Like, I tend to speak about it once I've dealt with it and I can come back and like have more grounded like conversation about how I feel. So people tend to think that I have more figured out than I actually do. You know, like I'm just winging it. I don't know jack shit about being a mom. I don't know jack shit about spirituality. I don't know jack shit about finances and running a business. I'm just winging it. So this girl calls me today and she's asking me basically boy advice. And my eyes started filling with tears because at like 18, 19 years old, she's going through exactly the same relationship issues that I am currently having at 31. She's like, she's so emotionally intelligent. Like this, if I could hug her, like, oh, I could hug her and be like, honey, you are doing great. You're like, what, 19? And you're already using words like, I know I have an anxious attachment style and that they're avoidant, and I know that I'm worthy of love, and I know that I did nothing wrong. And like, she's so emotionally intelligent, like, but she has feelings and she's sad and she's going through depression because she has an anxious attachment style, and she was aware that she had an anxious attachment style, so she was trying to approach this relationship with this boy who had an avoidant attachment style from a more grounded and realistic place, and she caught feelings. And even though she was trying to like tell herself to, you know, be patient and take it slow and do all the things, and she's beautiful and she's smart and she's a catch and she did all the things right, and yet he still was avoidant. He still ran. And she said, Sam, I almost wish it would have ended badly. I almost wish he cheated, or wish he lied, or wish, you know, this, that, or the other, because then I could just be angry and it'd be easier to move on. But he didn't. He just didn't want me. And usually I could say it's because, oh, I did this and I was too much, or I was too clingy, or I was this or that. She's like, but I did it right. And he still didn't want me. And I started to tear up a little bit, but I'm hoping she didn't notice. And I was like, fuck, I felt that, you know? Like, oh, they didn't even want you when you were the best version of you, right? And she's like, I don't know what to do. It just hurts so bad. And I'm like, baby, I hate to say it, but I don't know what to tell you. I was like 31 years old. It's like I literally wrote a poem about that exact topic yesterday. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes people just, they don't want you. You're just not it. And it's nothing you did. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're funny, you're a catch. He just didn't want you. And that sucks. And it's depressing. So then you convince yourself, you know, I'm gonna go focus on my career or my school or whatever, you know, or focus on my house or what I've got going right in my life, right? But then it's like, oh, my whole life has become work, or my whole life has become my family, or my whole life has become my hobbies. How can I bring balance to it? How can I, you know, do the masculine and the feminine? Masculine being action and work and all of that, and then the feminine being the creativity and the receptiveness and the love and the relationships and the friendships and the bonding and the, how can I do both? And eventually you find your people and it all balances out and it starts to flow more naturally, and you learn the little balance between the two. But it's really fucking hard, and life is hard, and spirituality is hard, and finding that little dance between the two is hard. And at 31 years old, I'm still struggling with the same things that she's struggling with at 19. And I got 50-year-olds who tell me all the time they're struggling with the same shit. And then just because I look at some cards and I get some good downloads and I read a couple of books and I post about what I've learned, people then expect me to have all the answers. And I don't. And I'm sorry that I don't. But I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that I don't. I'm not going to feign, oh yeah, do this journal topic and eat this Tibetan tea and do some breath work and, oh, this book will fix your life. Like this new age spirituality, oh, if you do this breath work and then you turn vegan and then you stand on your head and count to 10 and fixed. We're Christians, oh, the Bible says. It's like, okay, well, I still feel empty. I still feel confused. I still feel wildly unqualified. That's okay. That's the lesson. It's okay. We're all just winging it. And Western society has this like false mentality that our worth is tied in with our productivity and like we have to have it figured out, and the like American dream is like the perfect marriage and the perfect house and the perfect career, and it's all a lie. The true dream is to just enjoy life, to work so that we can live, like we can afford to explore and to play and to do the things, not to tire ourselves out all day working and barely making time to create relationships and explore. And I wish I had the answers. I wish I could tell her exactly what went wrong with her and that boy. I wish I could tell her how to fix her depression, but the truth is, I don't have the answers. I don't have the perfect journal prompt. I don't. What works for me may not work for her. And that's okay. That's why it's like I recognize the universe is within you is also within me, and all that is, the answers are truly within, and that feels like such a cop-out. But what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. And you can ask people for advice. I'm not saying don't ask for advice. But don't trust the motherfuckers that pretend to know everything, especially when it comes to spirituality and mental health. If they're like, oh, you just need to do this, I don't trust them. I hate those people. God, I hate those people. Well, it's probably because this, and this, and this. And I'm not saying like to don't exercise and don't diet and don't meditate and all that. All of that stuff is valid. But it doesn't stop shitty people from being shitty people. It doesn't stop you from having money problems. It doesn't stop you from being stressed out because you're kids. Like, life happens. And sometimes it's not fair. And sometimes you just have to show yourself some grace and realize that it's okay. It's okay. Today, I had a full fucking giant toddler hissy fit over a rock. At 31 years old, it was an autistic meltdown, but I didn't realize that that's what was happening at the time. In hindsight, I'm like, oh shit, that was an autistic meltdown. But at the time, it was a hissy fit. Like, I was excited because I got some new crystals and I wanted to show the crystals to somebody. And crystals are like my special interest thing. So it's not just a shiny, pretty rock to me. It's like an obsession for me, right? My crystals are like color coded. Like, I'm very like OCD like with my crystals. They're color coded. They're in a special spot where nobody can touch them. People aren't allowed in there without me, and like only certain people are allowed in there. Like, I've had friends who I love and I trust that are not welcome in my art room because they go to grabbing and touching things, and like there's a system. Things are color coded and some of them are breakable and some of them are fragile, and if you drop it, it breaks, you know? So like, I'm weird with my crystals. Now you come over to my house and I'm super generous. Like, I'm the type where somebody's like, hey Sam, can I get a drink out of the fridge? I usually will laugh and be like, no. And then I like laugh and I'm like, yeah, what the fuck do you mean? Can I have a drink? What the fuck do you mean? Can I like eat a snack? Yeah, like my house is your house. But I'm not that way with my crystals. And I'm not that way with like my vintage clothing either. Like, you don't just go grabbing my shit, you know? So like, and my friends who know me know that. Like Sam's a super generous person, but don't fucking touch her rocks. They're not rocks to her, you know? And well, today I was super excited to share my new rocks with someone. And I was like, look at this. And they went to like poking at them and like picking at it and like trying to bend it. And I'm like, the fuck are you doing? I was like, stop. And then they looked at me like, you know, because I was angry. I was like, don't do that, you know, and I panicked and I like, you know, got very like assertive. Like, I wasn't yelling and I didn't cuss, but I was like, don't do that, you know? And they're like, whoa, it's just a fucking rock, you know? And I was like, don't do that, you're gonna break it. And like, they're like, overreact much? And I was like, fucking my shit much? You know, like I got mad. And then they did it again, and then I realized that they weren't hearing me. Like they weren't empathetic to the way that I felt, and that the fact that that was like my thing. Like they weren't, to them it was just a stupid rock. And to me, it was like my prized possession. And it wasn't because it was expensive, it was like a $5 rock. But it was important to me. It's like the little kid that collects like figurines, like little action figures. To some people, those are toys, and to them, it's a collector's item. They keep it in the box. They keep it pristine up on a shelf, you know? That's how I am with my rocks. And this person didn't understand that. So it was like a big deal to me. And I had like a full-blown fit, and some people would be like, that was a huge overreaction. That was really immature or childish. And then other people would be like, oh, that was an autistic meltdown. Are you good? You know, like, are you okay? How do you feel? You know? And then I was hard on myself because I was like, damn, that was really immature of me, Sam. You should have reacted better. You should have been more grounded. You should have been more cool, you know? And it's like I found myself like beating myself up. And then I realized that maybe I could have handled it a little bit better. However, I was verbalizing a boundary and they weren't respecting my boundary. And it's okay to stand up for yourself. And sometimes standing up for yourself doesn't mean you have to do it a particular way. What works for some people doesn't work for others. Clearly, being calm, cool, and collected and, hey, don't do that, wasn't working. So I had to show out a little bit. I had to be like, don't fucking touch my shit, because they weren't respecting my boundary. But maybe that's not the way somebody else would have handled it. And if you asked for my advice on a similar situation, I might not give you the best advice, because I'm not an expert and I don't fucking know. So that's my thought for the day, is that it's okay to not have everything figured out. And I would much rather go to the therapist or the doctor or the life coach that openly admits when they don't know something than somebody who feigns as they have it all figured out and gives me shit advice. Just saying. So, if you're an influencer or a big YouTuber or a therapist or something, add I don't know to your vocabulary when needed. Check you later.